This is my voice. 12 weeks on T. 12 weeks. I do feel like so much of my brain has changed in subtle and not so subtle ways. Not so subtle is just not having depression anymore. That is a not subtle, like, since day one of being on T. Whew, I can't tell you how dramatic that shift was to not have T after basically a whole life, or not have depression after basically a whole lifetime of living with it. And just being interested in life things again. That's been dramatic. And I was just sort of reflecting the other day about being 35, because I'm 35. And the average lifespan of a Black trans woman in America is 35, right? And there are a lot of LGBT youth right now who don't believe that they will live past 35 because of the transphobic and homophobic policies and actions and culture in the US. And a lot of kids out there who don't think they'll make it past my age. And I was just thinking about how much it is really a miracle that I am alive. It's a miracle. Also privilege, right? There's also privilege. I'm half white. I have benefited from white supremacy. And I have to also acknowledge that, right? It's not just like, wow, how did I do it? Like, well, systemic privileges, right? But it is still a miracle that I'm alive because I did go through periods of suicidality, and I did go through periods where my depression made me suicidal, and lack of family support, being disowned, being told, hey, don't come to Christmas this year because you being there makes your dad uncomfortable. And those kind of statements, those kind of rejections from, what I thought was my family, they hurt, they wound, and they stay with you. And it is, to me, a small miracle that I'm still alive because there were times when I didn't want to be alive. And the fact that I'm still here and actually feeling more alive than I ever have because I started T basically on my 35th birthday is remarkable to me. So I'm sharing that because I don't even want to say it gets better, but it can, right? I feel like it gets better maybe is oversimplifying it, right? Like we still have struggles with our mental health. I still have hard days. There are still really terrible things that are happening to trans youth in particular that like break my heart. That I just wanted to maybe give some hope for those who either don't think that they're going to make it or are in a place right now where it's hard to see life in a better way. And I get that. Having lived with severe depression for many years, and depression that's like compounded by dysphoria. So like just being in my body was a depressive experience. Like what I felt, how do I describe dysphoria? The way that I would describe dysphoria was like, I wanted to take my own head off my body. Like I wanted to like remove myself by the neck from my body. It's just like, it was a constant discomfort and confusion about like, why do I look like this? Why am I like this? It just doesn't feel right. I told my partner once, it was kind of like seeing like a Christmas tree on top of your car in the middle of like July. You're just like, why is it there? That's like how I felt about my body, just this why. Every time I would see my reflection, every time I would see photos, it would just be like, like what's going on? It was like very much adjacent to disgust. And because I'm non-binary, for a very long time, I actually thought that tea would not work on me, because I thought tea was for people who wanted to transition from one gender to another, like it was binaried medicine. And what I learned from microdosing tea is that if you are, I don't know, like me, maybe identify as non-binary, but towards the masculine, and have been struggling with dysphoria and depression for a very long time, guess what? This is really helpful. And I do microdose 2 pumps a day. It's a low dose, but it works for me. And maybe one day I'll go up, but right now I'm just happy to not feel like I did, 12 weeks ago, because that was hard. And my heart goes out to anyone who's watching who is in that space right now. I know how hard it is. And I can definitely sympathize with how hard it is for you. So sending lots of love for those who are in the depression and the dysphoria right now. And I hope that this gives you a little bit of hope to keep going. All right, I'll talk to you next time.